Hello, everybody, and welcome to Uproot Reddit. Okay, let's all agree that babysitting is no walk in the park. First off, you're dealing with kids that are not your own. Second, you have to go through the checklist of responsibilities, kind of like an instruction manual on how to care for the kids. Interesting way to put it. Third, you have to make sure they don't break things or themselves. So, handle with care. And the most important thing of all, you have to always check if they are well. Even nowadays, here's one instance where babysitting can go completely south if the child you're caring for isn't feeling well. Reddit user Lex8986 was doing their job as a babysitter because their job was to babysit, not act as a doctor stand-in. In today's post, parents leave me, a 14-year-old female with a very sick baby, and get this, refuses to return until they have had enough fun. This post has blown up while I was sleeping. Thanks, guys. Thought I'd just clarify a couple of things that I've read in the comments. I'm Australian, so no child protective services to call here. Our equivalent is called docs, and there is no way, if I would have called them, that they would have come to our town before the parents got home. We are hours away from anywhere. The ambulance thing I get though. Now, at my age and being a mother, I would have without hesitation, but at 14, I wanted mom there to assess the situation first. I mentioned the meningococcal outbreak as another layer of the craziness of the parents. I mean, who leaves a sick baby when there's an outbreak of that? It was all over the news for weeks. Kinda sounds familiar, huh? However, even though that's where my brain went while I was there by myself given the baby's symptoms, once my mom turned up, she was 100% confident this baby had gastro or another tummy bug. And the rash was a heat rash and agitation from me constantly cleaning him. She had 5 kids and worked in the hospital. Me at 14 trusted her judgment, and heck, even now I'll call her when I need advice from my 2 kids. The baby was sleeping soundly before the mother got home. That's why she acted the way she did once she saw he was asleep. She didn't think there was a problem, and all that I had been through during the afternoon was an overreaction. And finally, yes, that's what I charged 20 years ago, and every single family was happy to pay it. Except this one, of course. I was a really good babysitter. The kids loved me, and I loved looking after them. In fact, I'm a bridesmaid next week for a woman that I met when I started babysitting when she was 3. Always stayed in touch, and I became her second mother and helped her through a lot of things. Can't wait to see her get married. On mobile, sorry for formatting. When I was 14, 20 years ago, I had been babysitting around my small town for 2 years. I had a great reputation with my regulars and would routinely stay until the early hours of the morning when the parents needed a night out. I would normally charge $15 an hour, but that would jump up to $20 after midnight. There was a wedding to be held in town, which meant people would be traveling to attend, and I was recommended to babysit by a trusted family friend. I had never met these parents before though. Bit of backstory. At the time, there was a big outbreak of meningococcal. There had been cases of it from where these parents were traveling from. And as a kid who was interested in stuff like this, I had read up all about it and knew the symptoms. The night of the wedding comes and I arrive at the hotel to meet the parents. The baby is 1, and I thought it would be an easy night because I normally have 3 or 4 kids to look after. It was a really hot summer night, and the baby was just in a nappy. The mother mentioned he was teething and might be a little whiny, but nothing I couldn't handle. About an hour after they had left, around 2 p.m., the baby woke up and was screaming. He was hot, and I mean so hot to the touch that I pulled my hands back when I went to pick him up. I tried to calm him and cool him, but to no avail. Any food or drink I tried to give him, he vomited straight up. and he was constantly soiling his nappy with a steady stream of diarrhea. Oh, poor thing. At 4 p.m., when I knew the ceremony was over, I called the mother to tell her about her very sick child. This wasn't just teething. His temperature was soaring, and she didn't even leave any ibuprofen or anything to help with that. She sighed into the phone and told me she'd be there in 20 minutes. Where the reception was, it was a 2-minute walk back to the hotel. After waiting 2 hours and the baby not getting any better, I rang again and was ignored 3 times. By this stage, it had cooled down outside, so I took the baby for a little walk along the veranda to try and distract him. However, I had locked myself out when I went to go back in. Oops. The baby vomited again and did a massive poop and fart at the same time that dripped out from the nappy. So at this stage, I was covered in vomit and poo, locked out, no phone, and with a screaming baby. I had to walk through reception at the hotel, which happened to be attached to the restaurant, so those dining got a good eyeful and smell to go with their dinner. The lady at the front desk let me back in the room, and I tried to ring again. The mother finally answered, and I said, "Your baby is terribly sick. He's hot, vomiting, and seemed like he had a rash starting to develop, which is a giveaway for meningococcal." She sighed again. They had just started dinner and would be straight back after that. And please don't try to call again. Another 2 hours later, around 9:30, I rang my mother and she came to help out and bring me a change of clothes. We finally got the baby down about 11, and I rang one last time. Said that I had my mother with me and I would be leaving at 12 after I called an ambulance for their obviously seriously sick child. That mother ended up coming at 11:45, drunk as heck and very upset that I had ruined her night. She couldn't enjoy herself because she kept worrying that I was going to call. She cussed me out about the smell in the room and how many nappies and bottles I had gone through. My mom stood back and let me handle it, but spoke up and said if I could get paid now because we needed to get home. The mother handed me an envelope and shut the door in my face. $20. That was all in the envelope. I was owed $150. Mom knew we wouldn't get her to answer the door again, so she took me home. The next morning, Mom woke me up with the extra $130. She had gone to the hotel at 7 a.m., and once she told the manager what had happened, the manager slipped a note under the hotel door saying that due to the extra cleaning and disinfecting that would need to be done in the room, there was to be an extra charge of $200 put on the room, plus the extra $130 that our in-house sitter was owed. When everyone looks after each other in a small town, it's a nice feeling. Apparently, that father blew up when the extra charges were put on his card. Didn't realize the baby was so sick and was swearing at his hungover wife. The mother was screaming about the unsatisfactory babysitting I had did, and they left in a huff. I think about that poor baby every now and again, hoping that he was all right and got over what was making him sick. I was in a small panic for about a week, waiting to get sick too. But thankfully, and by some miracle, I didn't. And here's an edit from Lex, the original title of this story. Quote, "Parents I've never met before leave me with a baby that was very sick. Don't answer phone and shortchange me when it comes time to pay me. Their crazy behavior cost them over double for the room. Something tells me that that kid will have trust issues with their mom for years to come, if it hasn't already begun. Parents, please, 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 for the sake of babysitters, teachers, and daycare workers, take your child to the doctor immediately if they are not feeling well. Plus, don't make them go to school or even dare set them in a daycare center if they are sick. I know it may be common sense, But some entitled parents these days ran out of common sense a long time ago. Like what happened with Reddit user Satire Bassist, who was only a stone's throw away from the hospital when they were sick. But their entitled parent didn't want to take them. In today's post, my entitled mom was afraid of doctors and I nearly died from a muscle cramp, quote unquote. My mother, the entitled mom of our tale, grew up in a household that didn't believe in doctors or going to the hospital. This translated to an irrational fear of hospitals for my entitled mom. At the time of this story, I was 14, in high school, and about to have a very bad day. I should start by saying that my entitled mom lives exactly 1 mile away from the closest emergency room. Also, my siblings and father were out of town for a competition that weekend. I didn't feel like going to another cheerleading competition, so I stayed home. I get home from school on a Friday around 4:00 p.m. and call entitled mom to tell her that I don't feel good and think I need to see a doctor. Entitled mom says that she has a 1-hour workout with her personal trainer, who happens to train the whole family for our sports team. Entitled mom tells me that she will come home right after and take me to the pediatrician. At 4:40 p.m., I call entitled mom saying that something is seriously wrong with me and I really think I need to go to the hospital. She tells me that personal trainer just had a cancellation and she is staying for another hour workout. Then she will take me to the doctor. Around 5:10 p.m., I call entitled mom and beg her to come home because I'm in a lot of pain and feel terrible. She gives the phone over to personal trainer who says, I kid you not, it sounds like a muscle cramp from our workout last week. You'll be fine, buddy. She says she will call our friendly neighbor across the street to check on me. 10 minutes later, I hear our neighbor walk in through the door and come to my room to check me out. I'm on the floor because I fell after going to the bathroom and couldn't get up. She helps me into bed and immediately calls entitled mom. The conversation goes something like this. Hey, entitled mom, I think you need to get here ASAP. Your son is white as a sheet and sweating bullets. Also, he is in so much pain he can barely move. Oh, I'm sure he's fine. Probably just overreacting from a muscle cramp like personal trainer says. This isn't just a muscle cramp. He needs to see a doctor. I can put him in my car and meet you at hospital ER that is only 1 mile away. Oh, no need for that. I'll finish up here and head home to take him to the doctor. Click. 5:45 p.m., our friendly neighbor calls entitled mom again. And entitled mom says she is in the changing room, then we'll be home in 10 minutes. Gym is pretty close. 6:20 p.m., entitled mom finally gets home. The neighbor tells her what I've been going through and says I need to go to the ER. Entitled mom says she is taking me to see our pediatrician. Entitled mom does take me to see our pediatrician, who also runs a pediatric emergency room. The problem is that the doctor's office is 25 minutes drive away with zero traffic, and we are at the butt end of rush hour. 7:15-ish p.m., we get to the pediatric ER and they immediately take me into the back to see what's wrong. Turns out I have an acute appendicitis and it's close to bursting, so they need to send me over to hospital 1 mile from my house to get it removed. The entire time, my entitled mom is murmuring about needing to get ready for a trial the next day. She's a divorce lawyer, and how I'll probably be fine and just need to sleep it off. Then there comes a moment when entitled mom is out of the room, but I have a doctor and nurse in the room alone with me. I tell them the whole story about how I've been trying to get her to take me to the ER since 4, how we lived only a mile away from the hospital they wanted to send me, but my entitled mom decided to go here because she hates big hospitals. The doctor didn't really believe me until I told him to MapQuest, old school, I know, my address relative to the hospital. I managed to convince them to call for an ambulance to transport me to the hospital to make sure I got there. After my surgery, the nurse told me that my appendix burst as they began the surgery, so they had to be quick. To this day, I still tease personal trainer every time I see him by grabbing my side and saying, "I think I have a muscle cramp." I've never heard him use those words together since. And here's an edit from Satire Bassist, quote, "Thanks for all the awards. First time receiving awards. I'll try to remember a few more to post for you guys." So, your own agenda was way more important than the life of your child? Yeah, this just goes to show you that these entitled parents really don't need to hold up the title of parent at all. They can't even be bothered to take care of their own children. Anyways, that's all the time we have for today. We'll be back for more bad parenting posts right here on Uproot Reddit. Please make sure to stay safe as always, and we'll see you all next time.